Hello and welcome, our blood viewers, to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. Prime Minister congratulates Botswana President on forming a new government. Launch of a maritime security training. And on the international scene, Israeli kills 35 Palestinians in Jabalia. Qatar suspends mediation in Gaza. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Prime Minister and acting head of government, Mr. Abdelkader Kamil Mohammed, has sent a message of congratulations to Doma Boko, President of the Republic of Botswana, on the formation of his government. Doma Boko, President of the Republic of Botswana, on the formation, of course, of his new government. In his message, the Djiboutian Prime Minister welcomed this exemplary transition, marking a historic turning point for Botswana and testifying to the democratic maturity of the Botswanian people. He expressed the confidence of the government of Djibouti and Mr. Boko's leadership and his ability to guide Botswana towards a future of peace, stability, and prosperity. The Prime Minister also underlined the bonds of friendship and solidarity that unite Djibouti and Botswana based on shared values and aspirations. He reaffirmed Djibouti's commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation and working closely with Botswana in multilateral forums such as the African Union and the United Nations, with a view to promoting the sustainable development and prosperity of the entire African continent. Mr. Abdelkader Kamil Mohammed concluded by wishing Mr. Doma Boko and his government every success while reiterating the Republic of Djibouti's support for this new era for Botswana. In a recent interview with the Turkish channel TRT, Djibouti's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, shared his thoughts on the growing partnership between Africa and Turkey in the wake of the meeting of foreign ministers of the African Turkey Partnership. The head of Djibouti's diplomacy stressed that the relations between Africa and Turkey are based on centuries of cultural and historical exchange. This partnership, which began in 2008, has seen a series of landmark events, including summits and ministerial meetings, testifying to its depth and dynamism. At the recent meeting, the speaker stressed the importance of turning commitments into concrete actions. The minister spoke of Turkey's role as a trusted partner in peace and security in Africa. Through its initiatives, Turkey is seen as a key player in the implementation of the African Union's silencing the gun strategy, which aims to establish a climate of peace on the continent by 2030. He also mentioned the importance of mechanisms such as the African Standby Force, while acknowledging the challenge in terms of funding the political will of member states with regard to the African Union's Agenda 2063. The minister expressed concern about the implementation of decisions. He called for an improvement in the performance of African institutions to achieve the objectives of sustainable development and prosperity for young people. The African Union's accession to the G20 as a permanent member represents an opportunity for better representation of Africa in international bodies. The issue of migration was also addressed. He called for the creation of favorable conditions for development on the continent in order to limit chaotic migratory movements. He expressed the wish for a stronger partnership between Africa and Turkey to manage migration in an orderly and constructive manner. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, this morning presided over the opening ceremony of a workshop to test training models on the development and use of French and mathematics textbooks in primary and secondary education. The workshop was attended by UNESCO, a program director and specialist, Mr. Omar Tiam, AFD director, Eric, as well as educational experts from the International Bureau of Education and national experts, textbook design specialists, educational inspectors and advisors, and also teacher trainers. The event, which runs from 10 to 14 November at the Sheraton Hotel, is organized by MEMFOP in collaboration with UNESCO with the support of the International Bureau of Education. The workshop is part of the AFD-funded Educational Resource Phase 2 Produce to Read project, which aims to improve the quality of and access to school textbooks. The aim of this meeting is to test and evaluate innovative training models designed for the development and use of textbooks in French and mathematics in the primary and secondary cycles in order to meet the specific needs of our children and teachers. The workshop opened with exchange between experts and practitioners and should result in strong recommendations for improving the quality of and access to textbooks. For his part, Mr. Omar Tiam, UNESCO IB Director and Program Specialist, paid tribute to Menfob's political commitment to educational innovation, which is a strategic priority. He called for textbooks and training models for primary and secondary school teachers to be adapted to local realities, taking into account local cultural contexts. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, emphasized the choice of Djibouti as the venue for the workshop because of our country's recognized expertise in textbook development and teacher training. The Finance, General Economy and Planning Committee today began examining the amending finance bill for 2024 financial year, which aims to adjust the year's budget forecasts in line with the current economic situation and the government's new priorities. The meeting, chaired by the Honorable Chairman Kim Musaare, brought together all the members of the Finance Committee with the participation of the Budget Minister, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, accompanied by senior officials from his ministry. The meeting provided an opportunity to present the proposed budget adjustments and outline the new financial guidelines. Following in-depth and constructive discussions on government revenue, the Finance, General Economy and Planning Committee plans to continue its work in the coming days to conduct a detailed examination of the expenditure section of the amending bill. Under the leadership of the General Secretary of the Ministry of the Interior, a large delegation comprising representatives of the sectoral ministries traveled to Bishoftu, 40 kilometers from Addis Ababa, for the 28th meeting of the Joint Committee of Border Administrators and Officials. The meeting will take place from 7 to 8 November. During the official speeches, the head of the delegation of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia welcomed the Djiboutian delegation. She stressed that the two people share the same cultural values and are bound by a common destiny. The two countries have succeeded in establishing multi-sectoral cooperation over the years. She encouraged the two sides to work together towards successful economic integration, the establishment of a mechanism to regulate irregular migration, and the facilitation of the movement of goods and people to the mutual benefit of both. In his turn, the General Secretary of the Ministry of the Interior delivered a speech on behalf of the Ministry of the Interior, Mr. Sayyid Nur Hassan, in which he warmly thanked the Ethiopian people and the government for the hospital welcome they have received since their arrival. From 3rd to 7th November 2024, the General Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Mohammed Ali Ahmed, presided over the closing ceremony of a workshop on methods for monitoring the sensitivity of factors to instances. The ceremony was attended by WHO representatives, Dr. Jumana Hermans, the Director of Priority Health Programs, Mrs. Munira Ali Ahmed, and the Coordinator of the National Malaria Control Program, Mr. Samatar Kayad Gelle. Vector control by the National Health Services involves the national and in provision control in emergency situations. The use of insecticides in public health implies the implementation of surveillance program to monitor resistance levels in local vector populations. Monitoring resistance is therefore an essential part of entomological surveillance, and together with information on the abundance of adult and immature mosquitoes and on the ecology and habits of vector populations, it enables decisions to be taken with a view to effective vector control. As a reminder, in recent years, our country has been faced with the transmission of major vector-borne diseases such as the dengue, chikungunya, and malaria viruses. So, to ensure that the insecticides used are as effective as possible, systematic monitoring of the susceptibility of their vectors must be maintained using standardized methodologies for which the World Health Organization has developed resistance assessment methodologies. Today morning, the Regional Maritime Training Center organized a ceremony to launch a training course dedicated to maritime safety for officers from the Coast Guard, the French Navy, and representatives of friendly countries. This event is part of ongoing efforts to strengthen international cooperation and safety at sea. The ceremony was provided over by Mrs. Mina Hussein Douale, the director of the Regional Maritime Training Center, in presence of the high-level personalities, including the commander of the European Union Operation for Maritime Safety, Mr. Amando Valente Tinoko, the ambassador of the European Union to Djibouti, Mrs. Dena Elena Lunette, and the chief of the staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Also present were the commander of the National Navy, Colonel Ahmed Dahir Jama, and the commander of the Coast Guard, Colonel Wais Omar Bokore. The aim of this training, which is aimed at Djibouti's maritime forces personnel and regional partners, is to build capacity in maritime security and to fight against threats to international shipping lanes, such as piracy, maritime pollution, and illegal trafficking. The commander of the UNIFOR, Armando Valente, expressed his support for this initiative, underlying the importance of multilateral cooperation on maritime security. We are pleased to participate in this training, he said. Let's listen to him.
Admiral Ignacio Villanueva, let me express it is an honor and a privilege to be here on the occasion of Dorale regional exercise, an incredibly formative experience in a highly stimulating environment. I also like to extend our gratitude on behalf of UNAFOR Atalanta to the authorities of Djibouti for their extraordinary support throughout the years, which is an evidence of our strong partnership and, in particular, for the availability to conduct this important event. The Republic of Djibouti has once again provided us with a warm and enthusiastic welcome, a sentiment shared by my staff and the crew of the Atalanta flagship Santa Maria. I would also want to thank the RTC and Djibouti Code of Conduct personnel for the support and effort done to plan and organize the executions of the early regional exercise in this multinational atmosphere. The operation is at a turning point. After a long period in which the deterrence of the units took effect, we have had a demanding month since November 2023 and several incidents and suspicious approaches detected. We have a tangible confirmation with these resurgences of piracy attacks that they have the intention and the appropriate means to carry out these illegal actions.
Let's now listen to the commander of the National Navy, Colonel Ahmed Dahir Jama.
A privilege and honor to be in front of you today. It is the signing 15 years ago the Code of Conduct Djibouti. During that period, how we learn how and to hunt and tackling the Berat, to build an information sharing community. For example, beginning of this year, we receive information from local community when the Berat rise again. That means we are already building information sharing in local, particularly in the Puntland, so that we get ahead. Now we have to transfer this operation and let Djibouti signature country this experience we did 15 years ago. So now this exercise is mean we are starting a new chapter. That means the country signature of the Code of Conduct have to take the lead and take the exercise. So I will look forward to this outcome of this exercise. Before we are thanking also the European Union through the UN NAFOR Force, Japan, because those entities did a lot of things in the supporting Djibouti Code of Conduct. UN NAFOR they did a lot of things about the operation deploying the ships, but also Japan is funding to support and accompany the country or signature. For example, the building of this center is part of the effort of the Japanese. So we thank you a lot of things.
For her part, Mrs. Denselena Lunet, Ambassador of the European Union to Djibouti, recalled that the European Union is fully committed to supporting regional maritime security initiatives. Let's listen to her.
Since I have taken up my appointment as European Union Ambassador to Djibouti, the distinguished authorities, starting with His Excellency, the President of the Djibouti Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the other distinguished minister I have met, have raised to me the importance of a partnership in responding to the security threats, notably the piracy and overall improvement of the maritime security. European Union is a partner that has conducted cooperation and partnership authorities. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, maritime security is expressed as a top priority by our Djibouti counterparts. And I think that this event takes place at a moment where in the region and considering the geopolitical situation can play an important role in the area of strengthening the response to maritime security threats. These issues are now on top of the agenda of the global international attention, considering the increased insecurity level in the Red Sea and in Somalia basin. Indeed, Djibouti is one of the countries the most concerned, but also taking the most proactive actions, and the European Union continues to support Djibouti in finding solutions to these challenges. And I think that maritime security is one of the issues in which we are keen to continue and to develop this partnership.
Madam Mina Hussein Douali, Director of the Regional Maritime Training Center, underlined the importance of this initiative in the context of regional and international cooperation.
It is both an honor and a privilege for me to welcome you all to this Dorale regional exercise focusing on maritime security in Red Sea. These events, which brings together our partner UNAFOR and a representative of the Djibouti Code of Conduct signatory states, mark an important step forward in our collective engagement to enhance maritime security and regional cooperation. The Red Sea and the Indian Ocean are vital routes for the international trade and maritime transport. However, the challenges we face are numerous and complex: piracy, illegal trafficking, marine pollution, and other critical issues which represent serious problems for our coastal states. In the face of these growing threats, effective coordination, collaboration, the sharing of best practices, and continuous capacity building are essential. This Dorale regional exercise is a platform to assess our collective maritime response capability and represent an opportunity to exchange and reflection in order to build a common approach for sustainable maritime security.
Djibouti's National Anti-Corruption Commission today organized a regional platform workshop to accelerate the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in East Africa in partnership with the United Nations at the Western Prime Hotel. The event, chaired by Mrs. Badriya Zakaria, President of the National Commission, is part of a wider effort to strengthen the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in East Africa. Djibouti signed the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in 2004 and ratified the convention in 2005, which calls on member states to step up their efforts to prevent and combat corruption in all its forms. At the workshop, international experts alongside Commission representatives and senior Djiboutian officials examined examined current laws and measures and discussed ways of speeding up their implementation. Among the topics covered were in-depth discussion on the need for baseline mapping to identify the main challenges and to strengthen anti-corruption capacity in the country. Representatives of the police and gendarmerie were also present, underlining the importance of coordination with law enforcement agencies and prevention efforts. Following the recent seasonal rains, the Auda Duda rainforest plain located between Balho and Dora is raging in vitality. This area, which is often arid and subject to the vagaries of the climate, is now covered with fresh grass and dotted with water holes, offering an exceptional landscape and a precious source of water for the nomadic families who move at this time of year to the Dora subprefecture of the Tadjoura region. Thanks to the rainfall, the plant attracts herds and families from the coast looking for pasture and water. Nomadic families used to the challenge of drought see this abundance as a real relief for their livestock farming activities. The freshly regenerated pastures provide natural feed for the animals, guaranteeing their well-being and strengthening the resilience of the herds in the face of climatic variations. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, several other people were injured when the Israeli army bombed a house in Jabalia, according to the civil defense. At least 35 Palestinians were killed on Sunday, including 15 children, in an Israeli airstrike on Jabalia in the north of the Gaza Strip, according to the civil defense. Many other people were injured in the Israeli attack, which targeted a house in the town of Jabalia. According to the eyewitnesses quoted by the Wafa agency, the house was full of women and children who had been displaced from different parts of northern Gaza. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening, and please take care. Thank you.